Welcome everybody. It's January 20th. We're going to be talking about the Return to Self program. So let's first do meditation. Let's go ahead and close our eyes and just bring ourselves into our bodies. Take a long inhale and a slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and a quiet breath out. Slowing the breath entering, slowing the breath exiting. See if for the next few moments we can welcome in some quiet. Belly rises, belly falls. Notice how with each inhale, you gently move into the exhale. And at the end of every exhale, you feel the expansion into the inhale. Just getting present for a few moments. Allowing your body to be still. Getting your mind a little bit quieter. As you dance with the inhales and the exhales. Invite yourself to count for 6 or 10 more long breaths. Then when you think you're done, stay for one more breath. And then start to bring awareness back into the room, back to this moment. Opening your eyes when you're ready. Great to see your beautiful faces, and thank you so much for being here. So we're going to be talking about the Return to Self program. I've got a PowerPoint prep because whenever I teach this, I can go off into a million different tangents. So this will keep me going in like straight line as opposed to going off. And I've left lots of places for Q&A and questions and techniques. So open up your chat box if you guys don't mind, and maybe just say where you're from, and maybe even say what you're up to in the world right now. Like right now, I'm a physiotherapist. Right now, I am a coach. Right now, I'm a yoga teacher. What are you up to? Not that you need to name it. Right now, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Not that you need to know specifically, but where are you from and what are you up to? Give you guys a minute to do that. Physiotherapist, meditation teacher from Vancouver.
Yes.
I just happen to know that. Sacramento, mortgage underwriter. Beautiful, Heather. West Vancouver. Living in Victoria, doula, yoga teacher, intuitive coach, intuitive healer, body worker. Love that, Emmy. Give anyone else a second. And then we'll get going here. Okay, let me just open up my PowerPoint and we'll see if anyone else types anything else in. Okay, we'll just open up the PowerPoint and have fun. All right, so, and again, why I do this is so that I don't go off into 1,000 tangents. Let's just see where it is here. There it is. Perfecto. Okay. Oh, but that one's, another one just popped in. One sec here. It's a way to do this. From Vancouver, living in Mumbai. Oh, right. How are you? I used to work as a law clerk. Beautiful, Franklin. Good to have you. Franklin, I think that's how you pronounce it. Welcome. Okay, so this coaching program starts February 2025. I want to describe to you what we're going to do together today and tell you a bit about the program, but also by the end of it, I'll be doing some readings as well. So first slide starts like this. We're going to use a chat box. I already did this. Where are you from? What are you up to? Cool. In this hour, we're going to tell you why I set up this program, a bit about my background, the outcomes from the program, and do some intuitive readings if you guys want. And that'll be through you guys asking me closer to the end about the readings. That will be helpful for anyone who's never had an intuitive reading. That could be super helpful too. My mission statement, because that's something really important to understand where I'm coming from, because there are other intuitive coaching programs out there. So Divi's mission statement is to empower people with intuitive and spiritual techniques, to help them heal, to help them gain clarity, so that they can step into their soul mission. Their soul mission could be being the best stay-at-home mom. It could be being the best physiotherapist. It could be being the best doula. But my job in the world is to empower people to gain these intuitive spiritual techniques to live a better life. And the theory in the work, so that's my mission statement. The theory of the work I do is if everyone does the mission statement, what's a vision statement? That's what a vision statement is. So if everyone does this, then instead of having fear and anger as the dominant vibrations, we will eventually have peace and joy and abundance as the dominant vibration on the planet. Right now, the dominant vibrations are fear and lack and anger. So if everyone does this work, that's what happens. So a little bit more about me. I used to be a family doctor. That's what I went to school for. I graduated when I was 25, so quite young. And I got quite sick. I'll try to make this very short. I got quite sick when I was 28. I have a TEDx talk out there explaining that journey. I got quite sick with a lot of things from food allergies to chronic pain to chronic yeast to recurrent infections. I was on about 8 or 10 drugs and about 3 glasses of wine and about 5 cups of coffee just to make it through the day. That was a 24-hour period for Divi. And then I left that world. I got better with yoga, ran away from marriage, opened a yoga business for about 10 years. And then during the 10-year time period, I got pregnant and my son is almost 20, so 21 years ago. And during that pregnancy, my intuition went up, took some intuitive courses, came back to Vancouver after we closed the yoga businesses and started this business very much on the side about 15 years ago. Started intuitive coaching just on the side. And then that grew actually quite rapidly, which shocked me because I was just kind of doing it because my coach was suggesting I did it because I came back to medicine. And just so y'all know, I love being a doctor, but I don't love being a doctor in the Canadian healthcare system, especially in British Columbia. It won't even go there. Don't even get me started. So started this business on the side just on a whim, but also under the encouragement of my old mentor. And so I built this intuitive coaching business just on a whim. And the next thing I knew, I had a 2-year wait list. It was a good problem and I had a really high price point, amazing client. To today, I still have some amazing clients. And I've gradually been shutting that down. So I still work with a few clients here and there, but I've moved into teaching classes. And during those 15 years that I was running my intuitive coaching business, I started a program called Intuitive Coach Training Program. It was actually 8 years ago we started it. We ran it for 7 years, then we stopped because we went kind of separate ways. She went more into the candle magic stuff, which is amazing. And I went more into A Course in Miracles, which we'll get into in a little while here. And so last year, I created a program called Return to Self, or RTS, which I started in September, and we're almost done now. And it's been an evolution from ICT. And it's a 6-month program, which I'll describe in a little while here. But it's been amazing, and it's more based on A Course in Miracles than ICT was. But I'll get into the program in just a second. But that's a little bit of background about me. A bit about my work. This is actually really important. Because I now base it more on A Course in Miracles, the thinking in the work is that we have only 2 sides of us. We have spirit, or the divine I am, or the infinite love, or the child of God, whatever word you want to use, love, universe, we have that side of us. And then we have fear. Remember, there's only love and there's fear. And the ego is what's called the fear-based thought system, which is the part of us that is separate from the divine. And those are the 2 words that I use a lot. And current counseling is traditionally done mostly with the ego, which I'll get into in a second. I am going to get there. But the work I do, it's all based on spirit, infinite love, infinite consciousness. And it's only when we get into spirit that we can heal our stories. That's the theory in the work I do. I always say the mind cannot heal the mind. Only the divine can heal the mind. I can say for myself, I've done so much work on myself and continue to. But it's only the place of unconditional love that can heal the part of me that thinks I suck. But the part of me that thinks I suck will not get better with a part of me that thinks I matter, because those are two voices in my head. But the divine, which is part of me, the infinite love that's part of me that we connect with when we meditate and slow down, that part of me is what I use when I help people heal. That is the part of me that when we wake up, we can heal anything that happens to our mind, anything at all, any story can heal. That's just a bit about my work. So all the work I do is about mind retraining, moving from the ego or separate itself into the God self. The ego is the part of you that forgot that you're infinite love. The truth about who you are, and the words I use a lot are, you are a child of God, which is from A Course in Miracles. You're a child of spirit. You're a universal love. And those are the two sides of you. And the part of you that is infinite love, you have access to infinite money, infinite love, infinite time. And you came here for a reason. And in my world, you came here for the expression of love. Now, we all have had shitty things that have happened to me. Sorry for swearing. We all have had stories and pain over here. But our life, this stuff from the ego becomes our health problems, becomes our relationship problems, becomes our bank account problems. So these things that occur in our health, relationship, and bank account, they're not bad, but they're taking us back to here, back to the part of us that is infinite love. So we have to start healing these parts of us so we can step into the maximum expression of love. But we came here for the reason of this pain to get here. That's the theory of the work I do. So all of our pain makes sense the more we go from here to here. And this slide will explain it better. There's two sets of laws. And the question each day we ask ourselves is, which one do I want to live in? I'll do human laws first. We all know these ones. Human laws says I'm a clump of flesh on my body, and I have a heart organ, I've got a brain, I've got an arm, I've got a leg. And in human laws, I have to go prove my worth to the outer world. I got to go, I am the best this, and you need to believe it. In human laws, I'm always fighting to be heard. In human laws, the outer world is a threat, and I have to prove my worth. Human laws, there's limited abundance. You can only make this much money. Human laws, like what the heck's a miracle? Human laws run about fear, anger, and worry becomes your set point. Now, there's a whole other way to live. And most of us are never exposed to it. But that's the gradual jumping from human laws to universal laws. Universal laws are, you are energy. Every thought you think creates an energy field. The universal law says the inner world creates the outer world. The universal laws are, there's infinite abundance. There's no competition. Universal law says if a miracle is not happening, something is going wrong. And universal laws, love, joy, and abundance is your set point. It's a complete opposite. And what I try to teach people is it's a jumping from the human law to the universal law, then back to the human law, then back. And the more you do that, the more you're going to embrace the universal laws. And that becomes your set point in life. But it's because all of us have 20, 30, 40, 50 years that we've been running with human laws, it takes time. And I'm not 100% universal law, trust me, but I jump back and forth. And each moment we have to choose, which world do we want to live in? Do I want to live in the world of fear, or do I want to live in the world of love? Do I want to live in the world of guilt, or do I want to live in the world of trust? And every moment of the day, I have to ask myself that. So I'm going to pause for a sec. I'm going to stop share for a sec. How is this sitting? How is this landing? What's coming up for you guys? Is this tracking? We all good? Any feedback, any comments, questions that are coming up from you guys? How are you guys doing? You guys are just super quiet or super kind. Give you guys a second. Do I kind of have you guys with me? Are we kind of there? We're there? Okay, great. Heather, we're there. Siobhan, okay, good. We're there. And we're here. Okay, amazing. Okay, let's keep going back in here. All right, let's see what else they want me to say here. Go back to the share screen. There we go. There it's right there. Perfect. Yay. Okay. All right. What's the next slide? So we're going to spend a minute talking about what's going on in the world and what the problems are. We have a lot of problems around us. If you don't know, go outside. I say that with a lot of love. Go and listen to a conversation on London drugs. Go and listen to a conversation at Starbucks. You're going to see how much pain is out there. We can only hide in our house behind our computer so long, like we did in COVID. There's a whole world out there, and there's a lot of pain. Because this is basically a summary of the clients that I've worked with over the gazillion years I've been doing this work. Confusion is out there, sadness is out there, ton of depression, tons of anxiety, tons of pain, tons of physical ailments, tons of anger, so much disempowerment, so much guilt. And should I keep going? There is so much pain that it's just looping. And unfortunately, the current healthcare system wants to heal the mind with the mind. And I think we all know that. Spirit is still not allowed. In fact, today, one of my old clients messaged me and she's asking me to come speak at her. She runs like a clinic here in town. And there's like physiotherapy there, Reiki. Reiki is the only kind of out there thing, but they also have like chiropractor, massage, acupuncture, naturopath. And she wants me to come speak, and we were talking. I said, well, what do you want me to speak about? Because I speak on a million things. And she said, well, nobody there believes that emotions or spirit have anything to do with healing. And I just like, I dropped my head like this. I'm like, because she's only 40. I'm like, you should know this. You're 40 years old. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, right? So, and I'm going to go do a talk at their clinic. But the problem that we have is that we still are building a society of blame. We're still building a society that if your shoulder hurts, it's because you held your purse wrong. I'm not saying your purse didn't aggravate it, but what I'm saying, and you'll get to that slide in a minute, is there's much more going on than just your purse was too heavy. And that's the work I do, is like help people understand that not just their body, but their confusion, their anger, their sadness is a much deeper rooted thing than what they think it is. And that's everything that I do for work. So the demand is through the roof. People are ready. And I think that people are ready now because the internet, to be straight up with you guys. So I fell into the room of a counselor's office when I was 28 or 30. I fell apart, left a marriage, the routine, and fell apart and sat on this counselor's couch for about 2 years. She was wonderful, all very heady, amazing. We never hit the concept of shadow or unconscious patterns in those 2 years I worked with her. She was amazing, never hit it. And now if you open your phone or go onto this thing you walk around with in your pocket all day, there's so much out there nowadays that people understand shadow work. People understand their minds. Nowadays, if you don't know, if you have a teenager in your life, it's cool to be in therapy, just so you guys know, okay? I've got a teenager, and he's like, yeah, it's cool to be in therapy. I'm like, oh God, right? Because that's the phone, right? Versus when I was 19, which is the age of my son, it was not cool to be in therapy, right? So the internet is making more and more people ready. The other thing that's making more people ready for intuitive coaches is simply because more people have done counseling. They might have even done shadow work, and I'm going to get there in a few minutes here, but they're still stuck. And there's a lot of people who want to heal with spirit, but they don't know how. More and more people understand that the inner world creates their outer world. It's like, now what do I do? So there's a growing pattern of people who are like, I want to heal my patterns. I want to be happier. I want to feel more alive. I've read every self-help book out there. I've read Marianne Williamson. I've read, Gabrielle Bernstein, and there's so many people out there who've done that work. But there's a huge gap between the books and the application. That gap is massive. I bet you if I went to every single one of your homes, we all have the same book collection or similar. But the gap between the textbooks and the application is massive. And that's what intuitive coaches do, is we bridge that gap for clients. We teach them how to heal with spirit. And the reason the books themselves are off, and every author that writes books knows this, spiritual authors, because I'm one of them. The reason just reading a book does not work is because what we do as intuitive coaches, and if anyone's worked with me, you know that this is part of our job, is we hold the space of unconditional love for that client. Got it? We're not trying to figure them out. We're not trying to make them wrong. We're not trying to fix them. We're holding unconditional love. And I'm not saying traditional counselors and therapists don't, but it's not part of the training. And a big part of intuitive coaching is having y'all hold that vibration of there's nothing broken here. But this next slide is going to make a lot more sense. I talk about, in the coaching program, I talk about three boxes of healing. The first box is when you enter the world of self-development. You go, my life is shit. This is crazy. I've got these thoughts. I've got these emotions. I've heard of the concept that my thoughts create things. Okay, I kind of get it. I see my thoughts are fear and love. That's box one. And you're kind of working through your thoughts. You're trying to have better feeling thoughts. You're, like working on that. And you're doing a really good job. Then box two is when you start diving into your shadow work, which is inner child work. It's intergenerational wounding. You're like, oh yeah, mom really did have a heart. And so it was hard on me. And that's box two. But most people never go to box three, and that's what Return to Self is all about. Box three is about healing, helping a client. First off, I should back up. Everyone who does the intuitive coaching program learns how to bounce between box one, box two, and box three, and how to decipher what their clients are. But box three is working with A Course in Miracles, with Spirit, with love, and actually showing clients that there's a different way to heal. Showing clients that if you heal with love, you can heal that inner child. If you heal with the divine, you can heal that voice that says you're not enough. So box three is something a lot of, well, definitely traditional therapists don't do, but it's the differentiating feature for intuitive coaches is how to heal with box three. And when I work with the program, I coach them on, okay, these are practices for box one, these are techniques for box two, and these are techniques for box three. And you learn all three boxes. Then when you're working with clients, I can tell when a client's ready to go to box two. I can tell when a client's ready to box three. And most people, including myself, my average day, I bounce between box one, box three, and box two in my average waking day. So it's not like I'm always in box three. But when you're working with clients, they might want to go from box one to box three to box two. Most clients go to box three when they're ready. Everyone goes to box two when they're ready. But because of the vibration you're holding, they're going to go more often to box three than you realize. I see that all the time with the people that are in Return to Self right now. They're taking their clients more to box three than I noticed in my previous trainings. Okay, I already said this. The mind cannot heal, only spirit can heal. And we need to have a relationship with that part of us that is the divine or universal law or unconditional love. And that's a huge part of the work I do. Huge. Because if we have a relationship with that, then it's game over. Then I can connect with a part of me that plugs me into the universe, because that's the game changer. What else do I have? Okay, in every session, this is what happens. You support a client. You hear clients because they'll come in and tell you their pain. You understand this pain point, and the biggest thing that intuitive coaches do is we love our clients. We love them to the moon and back. We use our intuition throughout the session. We ask intuitively guided sessions. Our intuition is going to tell us this is box one or box two or box three. And our guides will tell us exactly when the session starts and when it ends. And then you teach, coach, and support your clients. And the funnest thing that I can tell you about being an intuitive coach is you don't have to do anything. It's the funnest thing, because when you're connected to the guides, they will take you step one, step two, step three. Like, they do the entire thing. So why it's the funnest job in the world? It's why people always say to me, God, you work. I'm like, I do, because it just comes right through me, right? It's not hard. And clients keep coming back because it tastes so yummy. Like, most people only know unconditional love from their dogs or their cats, and sometimes their children when they're little. But what they will feel from you is unconditional love, which is a big part of my training, is that when you can hold that space for another person, it's a game changer. The other best thing about becoming an intuitive coach for me, I can tell you, for all these I've been doing it, is because your clients are always a reflection of you. It's like, oh yeah, that's for me to work on now. Oh yeah, that's for me to work on now. Oh yeah, that's for me. And so every client is your mirror. So it's like you're in therapy all the time when you're doing sessions. It's so much fun. So much fun. Okay. With time, your client will step out of confusion into clarity. They will feel more ease. They will have techniques that they can use on a daily basis to step out of pain. They start living the life they dream. They start creating more money. They have less relationship strain. They get healthier. They feel happier. They feel more alive. They're more inspired. The biggest thing is your clients start to connect into their own divine support team, their own guides, which is the best part. It's the best part. What else do I have here? The actual program. It's 6 months long. It starts in February. And it's live classes will be on Mondays at 5 o'clock Pacific time for an hour and a half. And there's a lot of pre-recorded material, which includes energy work, intuition starting, 3 beliefs of the ego, pain from patriarchy, shadow work, of course, miracles like a daily lesson. And there's a lot more too. So that's the pre-recorded material. Then the live classes, I add coaching, add teaching. And then I think I want to go to the next slide. I think the next slide has that. But yeah, a bit more about the program. So what happens is once I get all the names, I divide you up into pod groups of 3 or 4 people, and those are intuitively assigned. So you guys meet once or twice a month, and some people meet weekly, totally up to you guys. And then with your pod group, you're practicing coaching on each other. Got it? And then we meet in April, at the end of April, from the 25th to 28th here in Vancouver, which is when I teach you how to do an intuitive session, how to sit across from a stranger and do a reading. Okay? And that's how I teach you to do that. And then during the 6 months that we're hanging out together, after the April weekend's over, this I hope I don't lose you. I hope this doesn't confuse you. Then we pick a time that works for the majority of the people, and then we show up on the call together, and then I watch you guys coach each other and I help you. And that's when you learn how to thread the intuition that you learned at the end of April with the coaching techniques. And that's because it's a dance, it's an art. It's an art. Intuitive coaching is an art. So I teach you the intuition in April. I'm teaching the coaching skills throughout the 6 months. And then you practicing on each other is how you thread it. So right now I'm doing it the Return to Self container, the one that I do right now. And we get together on Fridays, and it's on top of the weekly calls. That's the day that worked for everyone. So we hop on, and then somebody says, I want to be coached. My mother's driving me crazy. And somebody else says, I'll be the coach. And I watch them, and I'm giving them feedback as they go. And then and the best thing about intuitive coaching is not a right way or wrong way, but it's a dance. It's like it's like medicine. It's an art. It's not a science. And it's learning how to thread the art of intuition with coaching. And it's threading that skill that I teach you extra of after the April weekend. And so there's extra dates we do that. And that's super fun because that's where your art becomes mastery. And it's so fun. That's all I can tell you. It's so fun. It's so fun. So fun to watch. Okay, what else? Results of the program. At the end of the 6 months, this is what happens. You become a highly intuitive, sensitive, skilled person. You have the ability to heal and thrive. You have a very deep knowledge of energy, love, and miracles. And you become open and ready for miracles and ready to manifest and create the life of your dreams. Like, honestly, that's what happens. And you actually have the ability to help anyone in self-development because you can tell box 1 from box 2, box 3. I guarantee you'll have a long wait list. Like already the clients who are finishing off the program, they're already starting their businesses, and it's all word of mouth, right? One of my clients who's in my school container, she coached with somebody, because I saw her the other day. She's also a friend of mine. She popped in to say hi to me. She brought me a gift. And she said, oh, I saw so-and-so from your Return to Self program. I'm like, oh yeah, she's amazing. She said, oh yeah, I sent her a whole bunch of people. I'm like, you did? Because that's what happens when your clients fall in love with you. They'll just send you people because it is, to me, it is the biggest loving thing you'll ever do, right? I went from medicine to yoga, back to medicine, to coaching, to now teaching. And I love teaching so much. But intuitive coaching has like this, it's almost like the sweetest cookie that you'll ever eat. That's so yummy. It's addictive, which is why it's been hard for me to let go of my coaching business because I love coaching. Like it's so easy for me and I love it. But I also know that I want to teach, so it's double-edged. So let me just go to the next slide, see where I'm at here. All right, I'll go to the investment stuff in a second, but I want to stop for a sec and see what's coming up for you guys. Question at the next break. Where is the line between intuitive coaching and therapy? Great question. So traditional therapy, every therapist does things differently. But traditional therapy is like fixing a problem. Intuitive coaching is using the guides. So what I teach you to do is connect to your divine support team and their divine support team and getting the specific messages from this person. So often, I wouldn't say you go deeper or it's better, but you tend to go deeper. I'm going to give you an example in a second, Siobhan, in a second. For some clients, the result of the session will feel very similar to regular therapy. But for the majority of clients, it goes a bit deeper. I'll give you an example. So right before this call, I had an introduction. So I still do these 20-minute introductions for free for new clients, like I did with yourself the other day, Corinne. Like just a new client doesn't know where to end up in my business. She or he is confused. They look at my website, like I know I want to work with this person, but I don't know where to start. So this woman hopped on the call, and she's also East Indian. She's 25. One of my other clients, because I know too many people, broke up with her. They were dating for about a year or two. They broke up. And so she was worried to call me. She's already been in therapy for a year. Already been in therapy, Siobhan, for a year and a half. Okay. And then they had this breakup maybe a month ago. And so she's heartbroken. And she shows up on the session and we talked for about 30, 35 minutes. And so she's seeing a therapist regularly, weekly. And during the time we were together, her grandfather showed up. And I said, grandfather on your mom's side? She goes, yep. And we right? Went down that pathway. And I showed her that the reason her mom couldn't love her is because of the grandfather, which she kind of knew, but she didn't know. And then I showed her how that impacted her. And then I showed her that the reason she's so sad about this boy who broke her heart, not just her first boyfriend. So she's sad about that. The reason she can't seem to because she took all the energy from that wasn't feeling loved by her mother or father onto him. Now, the traditional therapist couldn't get there because she had a wall up to it. Does that make sense, Siobhan?
Yeah.
She had a wall up to even recognizing that her parents didn't love her or that impact her. She just thought, okay, parents didn't love me. I'm fine. On I go. So she's worked with the therapist. I'm not knocking the therapist. It's just with intuition, you can bring in the grandfather and then you can show them the impact. And then she went, oh my God, this makes so much sense. And so you're bypassing the mind, which is traditional therapy and is just, it goes mind to mind. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
Literally happened right before this call. And that really helped me answer that question because she's been in therapy for a year and a half and has kind of plateaued and doesn't know and isn't resolving this breakup. And it's not about resolving anything, but it's about understanding that if she didn't talk to me and realize that connection, she could have stayed in traditional therapy and never realized because the traditional therapist, she said she talked to the traditional therapist about the mother wound she had, the father wound, and the therapist said, yeah, you just have to get on with it rather than dive in and heal it, because a traditional therapy doesn't teach you how to heal it with love.
That's true. Yeah. No, that clarifies it, because often as I've been working with you just in the last year on with different things, that line for me, again, coming from the medical world, we're all about scope of practice and staying in your lane and not crossing over and not bringing anything into the work that you're not really trained to do. So I'm really understanding, as I'm understanding more, that part of my own thing is just untethering from that traditional model and sort of developing that intuitive expertise, which will be the tool going forward, rather than sort of more right brain than left, shall we say. Does that kind of sound right?
100%. I mean, you're so gifted. There was something else they were saying to you. Just give me 20 seconds. So I should get this back in here. 100%. And yeah, it's like you've hit a plateau with just using your left brain, and you can only go so far with clients. And it's great, and you've done amazing, but the plateau is hit. And yeah, they did want me to say that. And that's why, like, when I worked as a doctor and I was overlapping the intuitive coaching business with medicine, I tried to bring intuition into my medical business. I tried. And it worked a little bit for some patients and not so much for others, which I'm totally fine with. And I only used it when patients wanted it. And then what I realized very quickly was that clients wouldn't be able to take it in if I didn't untether them and put them into separate boxes, right? And unfortunately, just the way society is set up, have them pay for it. Heather, because I know you're American, here we have a free Canadian healthcare system. So, clients were used to it being free. And then when I privatized it, there was a lot of upset, which I had to deal with. But that's actually when I started to attract in clients who are A, willing to pay, and B, willing to do the work. But what I found, Divi found, was the clients who come in the medical door didn't actually want to do the work. They were fascinated by what I did.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do the work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I find that too. They all want the information, but they don't want the next stage, which is but I'm loving the fact that the clients I'm attracting right now are the very same as me. They want the information, but they won't untether themselves from the story. Well, I'm basically doing the same thing. So I've got some untethering to do. That's my job. Yeah.
That's a massive aha moment for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in one of the slides I've got coming up, Tony Robbins talks about this concept of the transformation is in the transaction, right? And it's an annoying concept, right? Because especially up here in Canada, where certain things are free and certain aren't, but you only will do if you're actually putting money into it. It's just the way the human mind is.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Any comments, questions before? I've only got a few more slides. Any comments, questions from anybody? How are you guys doing? Okay. Amazing. Okay, got a thumbs up. Okay, we'll keep going. It's only a few more slides, and I want to up to intuitive questions and coaching and see what comes out of my mouth. Okay, that's the results of the program. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Okay, then there's the slide. So the investment. So an average 6-month group coaching container runs about 10 grand. You may or may not know that. Oops, I don't have the slide up. One sec. I didn't hit start share. One sec, my bad. I'm like, why am I reading this by myself and I can't see their faces? I'm not as techy as I think I am. There we go. Yay. Okay. So the average investment for a group container, if you look online for a 6-month container, it's about 10 grand. And then we're going to throw in the 4-day retreat, okay, which includes lunches and snacks and all kinds of fun things. That's about 2 grand for a 4-day retreat. Then you have pod groups and small groups. That adds up to about 2,500. Then you also get 2 1-hour sessions with coaches that I've trained who work with you through the 6 months. That's about $1,000. It's about $500 a session. And then lifetime access to content, which the rest of your life is about $2,500. The biggest things that I have found in Return to Self is there's a spiritual support network that you have for the rest of the life. That group, I don't think anyone on the call right now is from that group. We're on a WhatsApp group call, like a group together. And I barely have to go onto it because somebody texted in yesterday, hey, my son, I think, broke his arm. And then somebody else will text in, what arm, right or left? And then you have 20 intuitives all tuning in at the same time. Okay, it's because, what's his name? It's because he thinks it, and it's wild to watch. They all coach each other left, right, center. Like, it's insane. And it's actually quite funny because at first, oh, Megan's here. Oh, Megan, you're here. I didn't know that you were here. Yay. I didn't know which Megan it was. Hey, Megan. Megan's there. It is a very supportive group. And it's quite funny because I barely keep an eye on the WhatsApp. At first they would like type in a question. I'd be like, okay, I got to respond because they haven't done the intuition yet. They haven't done the coaching yet. Okay, respond. And then after the retreat, now they all just do each other. I'll just sit back and watch and laugh because the thing about being an intuitive coach is it can be lonely. I'm not going to lie to you. But when you have a spiritual support network, it's a game changer, like a complete game changer. And having things in common with as an intuitive can feel very lonely, just so y'all know. It's actually why I teach, because I was the only one I knew out here. So 3 of my closest friends are actually coaches that I trained. Do you know what I mean? And I just text them like, hey, this is going on, I need some help, right? Because and I still work with coaches like as a client. So that spiritual support network is priceless. And then having the confidence to help people with your intuition is priceless. Because you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't have a degree of intuition. And unfortunately, even today, as intuitives, when we're intuitive on the way the planet is right now, we think we're weird. We're too sensitive. I believe it is your superpower. I believe you're meant to make a 6-7-figure income per year based on it. Okay. I literally make more money now than I did as a doctor. Okay. But that's also because I believe in this so much. I believe in it more than I can tell you. And I've watched so many people heal cancer and relationships and chronic pain, and so that the investment, when you add up all that money, is about 18 grand. The cost of the class is 8,000 Canadian. So it's a bit cheaper for my American clients. What else do I have on my slides here? Why join now? The sooner you join, the better it is. We've already had some people join. The start date is February 17th. So the sooner you join, the more you can start to study the pre-recorded material. And that just gets you going. It gets you going. And like I said to Siobhan a minute ago, the transformation occurs in the transaction, and the medicine begins when you register. There's a few people who are in my school community who have actually already enrolled, and they're talking about how their intuition's kicking up, right? And with Palm Springs coming up, I'm already seeing people who are registered for that. Stuff is happening. So whenever you register for anything I do, stuff that's happening. That's the way the universe works. That's the way energy works. And are you ready? Is anyone getting excited? I mean, I get excited because it's paying attention to the feeling of the body and feeling being ready for service. And some people ask me, can I take this program just for me? Yes, 100%. It is a self-development program within itself. And by the end of the program, when anything happens out here, you start to know that you are the creator. And then you're like, okay, how did I co-create that? What's in me? And then what happens is all those books that we all have, they're identical. You start embodying it, which is the best part. There's only 1 or 2 more slides here. Back to my mission statement. Is to empower people with intuitive and spiritual techniques so that they can gain clarity and step into their life mission. And then the more of us that will do that, for my kid and my grandkid, I want more peace and joy and abundance to be the dominant vibration. I mean, the kids nowadays are teaching dominant teaching us abundance can be their vibration because they take their laptops, travel across the world, make 6 or 7 figures. I mean, they've already got that figured out, but we're old and screwed up. I joke. And I'm going to open up to questions and coaching and see where you guys are at. And I don't know if Megan, if you're still here, if you want to share anything about the course. Hey, there you are.
Hello.
Hey, you're here. I didn't know it was you. How are you?
Yeah. I don't know. I figured I'd sit in and listen.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, the course is a game changer. I have developed a way better relationship with my mom, and that was like I think that was the first push you gave me. And then the second push was a shadow of mine. So my divine support team took me to the edge of the cliff, and Divi's support team flicked me off, and I had no choice but to grow wings and fly. Yeah, I don't know. It's a game changer. It's life changing. I feel it's changed a lot in my life personally. It's changed my relationship with a lot of people in my life. It's only made it get deeper, I guess, because my problem when I first did my initial, I guess, intro call with you is I was in my own way. And I was afraid to show people this is who I am. Like, I have all these gifts and all these abilities. Like, I can walk into a room and read everyone and know what's going on with everybody, but I just keep my mouth shut because I'm like, I'm gonna scare people if I tell them this. So it's kind of nice and like she said, the WhatsApp group, it's nice that we're all like-minded, we all do the same thing, and we all can lean on each other and help each other. So I gained a huge community and a huge group of friends from this course as well.
Thank you for that, Megan. I really appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't know you were here. I love having you. Thank you. Yay. So that's a testimony. But yeah, it's a fun course. And questions, coaching, what's going on for you guys? Any comments, questions, coaching, what's happening for you guys? I got crickets. You guys are the quietest class I've ever taught, which is so cute. And if there's nothing, we can wrap. I'm totally good with that. Any comments, questions, anything for anybody? People always ask me for coaching, so it's kind of funny that no one does, but that's totally cool.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, go for it.
So, being in a field that is not anything like this, I'm not quite sure I don't know. I don't know where I'm at, actually, to be honest.
Heather, what are you up to in your life?
What am I up to in my
Yeah,
life?
you said you're in a field very different than that's what you said.
Oh, I'm a mortgage underwriter.
Oh, cool. And what drew you to this?
Probably just because I hate what I do.
Sure.
I mean, I used to like it because I felt like I was helping people, but it's super stressful. It's super inconsistent. Like right now we just had layoffs. It's a lot of stress and it's a lot of unappreciation, I guess. And it's just something that I used to really enjoy. I mean, I've been doing it pretty much since I was for like 30 something years. So it's not like I don't feel like I'm helping people as much as I used to, I think. So I feel like that's kind of like when I start like the stuff with Andrea and working on that myself stuff and I am learning that helping people is like kind of my spiritual gift is so I don't know how much I'm helping people. I mean, I'm getting them into a home, so I guess that's helping them, but
Right.
it feels kind of unfulfilling.
Gotcha. And you're wondering what's next. Is that fair to say?
Kind of.
And remind me, are you married, kids, any of that stuff?
I'm married and I have a 23-year-old.
Oh, right. So they're out, they're almost at the door or whatever.
Yeah, she's in Arizona, moving to Texas, actually.
Okay, cool. Give me can I just tune into you, Heather, and see what comes up? Cool. Give me just a minute here. Okay, I'm just gonna start talking and don't take any offense to it. You cool?
Sure.
First thing they're saying is you're very gifted, and there's something in there's like a juicy, bubbly energy that wants to come out, like a bouncing energy. and she feels trapped like in a jail right now with what you're doing. Not necessarily what you're doing, but how you're experiencing life.
Yes, that sounds accurate.
And you've been looking for things that you're called to, which might be this, might be something else too. Oh, they're telling me that you're definitely more of a healer type of person. And it, whenever somebody's a healer, we always break it up into, are you person healer, animal healer, nature? I think you're definitely more people. I always tell people that the things you've had to work through are the things that your client, it's hard to say it, things you work through and the things you vibrate. What I always say, I'm trying to say this all again, what you work through and, the persons in the bookstore you go to are the people you're meant to help too. So I'm making this up. Megan helped heal something with her mother. So now her next 9 clients are going to be mother wound issues. Do you get it?
Mm-hmm.
And so the more you heal, why was I so busy when I worked as one-to-one? Because I was always working on my stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As I've healed with my relationship with my husband even deeper, it's like, watch out. Do you get it? It's awesome. It's fun. But the more I heal within me, the more I can help other people here.
Because it's like an experience.
Exactly. Because I feel some stuff in your solar plexus that you've been healing for a while. The one thing you're really stuck on is a worthiness piece. It's all in your solar plexus. I asked you not to go in. Do you have anything there like heartburn or anything?
I do struggle with, not as much since I've been working on stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. Because that's our solar plexus clenches when we feel unworthy. And then who is this? Grandmother on your mother's side. Is she still alive? Do you know her?
I did.
What's her first name?
Sarah.
Sarh, like it's spelled.
Mm-hmm.
Were you close to her?
Yeah, really, yeah.
She's saying something about, she just popped in. Something about, I have to get back in. Start acting like the beauty that I know you are. And then she just put a crown on your head. A tiara. How was that sitting?
That would be something she said.
So the thing that I want you to play with is the grace that you are wants to step forward as you step out of your own way. Is that resonating?
Yeah, I do get in my own way often.
And not that I'm trying to push this program, but I'm really not. But I know that you're ready for it. And it's like, are you going to be ready for the new you? Does that make sense? And that's totally up to you because it's going to push, like Megan said, it will push you. It's actually, it's not that, yes, I wouldn't say that the program pushes you, but it does because it is a 6 months deep self-development course. Got it? And because I'm in your guys' face at least once a week. It's like, it's just the way the program is set up, but you're also paying me for that. That's the transformation from the transaction, right? You're paying for it. And I get you, Megan, when she started 6 months ago, she didn't know that she was going to heal herself with her mom. She didn't know. I pushed on a wound of hers related to her sister last time we talked, right? And I didn't do it because they're like, she's ready to heal this, right? And so you kind of have to like, I know when I did my intuitive trainings, I hope this helps you, Heather. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but it helped me to heal a lot of stuff with my parents. That changed my life. So, and stop hiding. Is this answering any of your questions? I don't even know what your question was. Oh yeah, mortgage. It doesn't matter what you've done before. I know what you asked me. I've had clients who were stay-at-home moms who moved into this work. I'm just going to tell you kind of very few clients were healthcare workers, just so you know. Okay. I'm the odd one, right? But most people were just regular Joes. Okay. Can I give you some other examples of just thinking? I'm just scanning. So there's one person in the Sears program who owns a bookstore. There's another person who is a stay-at-home mom. Another person who, I'm just scanning it right now, owns a restaurant. Like it's very different trades, right? It doesn't have to be in the healing arts at all, but it's the pull that calls you. Does that make sense? The pull.
Yeah.
Pull is not from me. The pull is from them through you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're having a pull, I don't create that pull, but they do it, right? And so that pull is an organic energy from spirit saying, come. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's why one of the jobs for my guides is to send me, if you want me to teach this, just you send me the people. Like I'm not going to go find them. You know what I mean? I don't know if Francelyn's going to mind me sharing this, but I met her at an event in town the other day. She was sharing, she went to the bookstore here in town. It's called Banyan. It's like a spiritual bookstore. She was looking for it. Oh, there you are. I didn't know if you could turn your video. Do you mind if I share the story? Or you can share it. All right, so she went, oh, there you are. You're there.
Go ahead. You can share.
She went to the bookstore, and like literally a few weeks ago, that same bookstore called Banyan. I know them. I know the woman who stocks the shelves, and so they stock my book. I co-wrote a book called You Don't Look Psychic, and they hadn't asked me for any books for about a year or two. It's like I don't reach out to them. Like their job, they want books, they reach out to me, right? Pretty straightforward. So they reached out to me saying, "Hey, can we get 5 more books?" I'm like, "Sure." When I dropped them off, literally three or 4 weeks ago. Franklin went in, and she walked through she's looking for an intuition book. I don't know if you're, and they sent her down that aisle, and then she glanced at my book, put it back, and then somebody else came over and said, "Here, this book is for you." She flipped on the back cover, saw a picture of me, went to my website, and I was running a workshop like a couple days later. Is that the story? Did I get that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't go looking for her. Her pull called it. And that was up to her what she does with that pull. Does that kind of help, Heather? And you don't have to have any background in healing at all. You have to have a desire to feel better in your life, though. That's the desire that's needed. That's a must desire. Is I want to evolve, I want to feel better, I want to heal. That is a must. Because if you don't have that, the program's not going to be any good. Because the program's all about healing your crap, so you can help other people heal their crap.
Gotcha.
How's that going?
Good. Something to definitely talk to my husband about.
Cool. It's cheaper for US dollars anyways, you guys. I'm teasing you. But yeah, I'd love to have you, Heather. Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm going to read, okay, I'm going to get Deb your question in a second. Read the question before that. Emmy wrote, I love this work, intuitive coaching, and totally believe in it, but still coming up against financial block scarcity. It's my excuse for not expanding sometimes, and I'm not sure how to lean into making bigger investments, and I'm still building my client base. Any guidance on how to trust and lean into abundance in terms of finances? Oh yeah, you're still here. Okay, so Emmy, I'm just going to be blunt with you, and you know I love you. Your scarcity consciousness comes from your mom's wound, and I know you know that. You have to just take a step forward, because essentially what you do when you take a step forward is you're saying, universe, I trust you. They're showing me your left foot. You have to take a step forward and saying, I trust, and then the universe delivers. Tell me if that makes sense, Emmy. I don't know if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it makes sense to take this step. I guess I'm just like thinking about like other times when I've taken a step that's been significant, but it hasn't given me anything back.
Right.
And is that just because I wasn't like tuned into whether I really needed to take the step, you know?
Totally. You okay?
Yeah.
You okay if I tell you what I say? I'm searing.
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
There's a self-sabotage you've got going on. You've got some self-sabotage that we have to work through, and that can only be healed in box 3.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you have
to,
so you'll have to stop it. And your guides are being like this, and Lakshmi's energy standing behind you, who I know you know is the goddess of wealth. You have to stop seeing yourself as a brown woman to brown woman.
Yeah.
And that's been pivotal for me, Emmy. Pivotal for me. Got
it?
And I have to stop seeing myself as a woman.
Yeah. I'm starting to really feel that. And like, you know, in terms of like making these bigger investments is not even just like new trainings or like coaching or anything like that. It's even like trying to find a space to work out of, you know, like there's this like intergenerational feeling of like, I don't want to take on a rent every month, or like if I take out a loan, or if I take money out, like I'm not going to get it back. Like it's a really deep-seated fear.
I can feel it. It's in your lower back. And in your lower stomach. I can totally feel it. But that's a frozen energy that you've been stuck in like this for a while.
Yeah.
Like they're showing me a circle that just keeps like a hole. That's okay. I mean, it's just, and it is about the box 3 work and deciding that you are here. It's like deciding that the universe put you here for this. And that thing they said as you were talking, they said, tell her to stop hiding.
Mm-hmm.
How is that sitting?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think I have been like kind of hiding because that's kind of my go-to when I get this like scarcity thing that comes up. And because it's stopping me from taking the next step, it's like I just stay here for a bit and then eventually something will break through. But I'm like, how do I decide what's worth the investment too? You know, like I have lots of different places where I could put the money, but I feel frozen. Yeah, for sure.
Look at that. I would just get really quiet, sit with this concept of box 3, that I am not this body, I am free, I am as God created me. Get comfortable with the Divine Mother more. Ask for more miracles. And I'd pay attention to the shadow in you that's like, okay, I'm done with that and I'm on to this. Like it's like is there's like a fixer shadow that you've got that you get from either your dad or your brother. It's more your dad. Like it's like rip off wax. Let me just fix this. Does that make any sense what I'm saying?
What? Tell me, what's the fixer thing?
There's a shadow in you, like you know when you get your legs waxed, they put wax on, they rip it off. There's
Oh, yeah.
energy. Okay, let me fix this.
Right.
And whenever you do that, it's just like it doesn't build the momentum or build the energy.
Right. It's like I'm not spending enough time or like nurturing in the healing.
Yeah. And a big part of your habit, and I love you, I've known you for I think 10 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's your habit is let me go fix this. And then it's like, okay, let me just sit in this. And then you just sit in it too long. And then you go to fix something. Then it's like these two shadows that just keep bouncing back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that a bit?
Yeah. Like I need to fix something and then I don't like sit in the healed energy.
You don't sit in the momentum of I'm doing this.
Right.
A combination of the masculine and the feminine, both.
Yeah. Like it's too much feminine or too much masculine.
Sometimes you're too feminine and sometimes you're too masculine. You haven't done the marriage of the two.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Get it?
Yeah.
And it's when we marry the two that we can sit and go, I'm worth $500 an hour. This is it. Do you get it? And no. And that marriage is it's my left leg is hurting right now. It's stressful for you to get to because it's like your dad and mom are so polar energies that it's like you don't have to marry the two.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely something to sit with. So just get really quiet and then kind of tune into where to put the investment.
And there's nothing to fix, but I spend a lot more time in box 3.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
So good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Let's scroll up here. I think Deborah. I'm on my own phone. My question is, I've never been a bug work for you. That's hilarious. And still don't. I give a lot of books, okay? But I haven't even bought them. Perhaps it even scares me. I don't read books. So not skill set of bull knowledge. That's okay. Do you listen to books? Are you an audio listener?
No.
That's cool.
I did get on.
Holy cool. What do you, and that the books aren't everything, but what do you think it is?
I've been this way all my life.
I'm just trying to see what they want me to say.
I would buy books. I love the thought of books. And I have bought lots of books and it's the same story all the way around.
Where it sits there.
I'm actually scared of myself to even go buy books now because I'm just thinking.
I'm gonna sit there. Okay. What I want you to do is sit with what the resistance is once that book is there, because there is a resistance.
Yeah,
because something's going to shift if you start reading that book. It's like right below your solar plexus on the left side. That's where I'm feeling it in my body. It's like a little box energy right there. It says no. And you don't have to think about it, but it's not about pushing past that, but it's about, so what it is let's just say, this is the book and you feel the resistance. You don't push past it and open the book. You just ponder, what is that feeling? What's stopping me? And you have to just spend some time. They're just like, Amy has to spend some time and journal and meditate. Like, what is that pause? Because there's like a pregnant pause there. Make sense? And they have to start listening to that voice.
Is there anything that you hear guidelines? Because I would love to hear that.
It's very much like Emmy. It's just stay status quo and it's safe. What's the point of reading this book? It's just like, it just makes you stop and just, it's very much, the order of questions is always connected. Because like with Emmy, it was like, I'll just stay here. It's the same for you. This is fine. I'll just stay status quo. But you have to ask yourself, is it? For me, my contrast was so big. I love being a doctor, but I hate medicine in Canada. I've done my American boards, but not in California. And that's the only state I live in. It's warm, right? Only states that I can work in the States weren't fun states for me to live in. So I stuck here in Canada, right? And so that contrast of sitting in that was too big for me, for Divi. For me, sitting here, like my personality and the soul that I came in with is really not good about sitting in the same place. I drive myself crazy.
You're not good at sitting in the same place.
If something isn't working, I can't stay. Something's not working, I need to change it. I need to shift. I need to figure out what is going on. It's my personality. Right? I need to, because we're only here for a short time. Yesterday I went to the hospital and saw a friend of mine who had a heart attack and was supposed to die 2 days ago. I'm like, shit. That's a friend of mine. Crap, right? You start doing stuff like that. You go to more funerals than you do to weddings. You're like, okay. I think life, so I never say life is short. I'm just here all about working with spirit. That's what life is for me. Life is about letting spirit enter through my body, through my life, for it to be the maximum benefit to the planet. That's what I'm all about. And for me to break, because the other life that I should be living, according to my parents, is miserable.
Is what?
It's miserable.
Miserable.
The life my parents want me to live is miserable. So that, to me, it's miserable. To me. So that misery was enough for me to say, no, I need to go over here. So I do everything I have to get over here. I'm pretty damn happy right now. But there's something for both you and Emmy that keeps you in this place. And that's why the book reading doesn't occur. That makes sense. That's why taking that step, it's like, this is fine. But you have to really say, is it? Does that make any sense up here?
Actually, no, it doesn't. It's there's certain things that I read a lot.
Okay.
But I don't pick up a book. And that doesn't even compute to me.
Okay. Is it the fear of the thickness of the book? Because there is something there, because every time you talk about it, there's like a wall that goes right up in my chest here.
There is. And sometimes I think when I've read books, I just think I'm a slow reader. So it takes me long. And I think, I know this anyway. So now when I read a book, I want to go like, oh, let's read this part. Oh, and then let's read this part. So I'm jumping all over it. So I don't, there's a part of me, I think, that almost gets impatient with it. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. So your question was about the skill set from book knowledge. Books are recommended, like there's some books I recommend during Return to Self, one of which is the book I wrote, because you're going to learn a lot more about intuition from reading that book. And I can apply it, which is what I do. Like in the 4 days together, I teach you how to apply it. But without the knowledge that's in that book, the 4 days is harder to get all the pieces.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
That does make sense. And that was kind of why I put the book in there, because I know you've told me this is some good books and do this and do that. And I do have a stall, even in those things that, yeah. And when this morning you told me that to buy that book and read it.
I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah. You don't look psychic.
That's our book. Yeah. Because we actually wrote that book. If people actually do that book, the problem with intuition is unless you practice it, it's really hard to learn. Whereas the book teaches you everything I teach you, right?
Okay.
But the practice is what I can't teach you from a book.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. And so that probably answers my question. Get the book,
Get
do
the
that
book.
first, and
Exactly.
then, okay,
Exactly.
that's great. Thanks, Stevie.
Well done. Okay, got there finally. Okay, Emmy wrote, yeah, it's like comfort for me. Exactly. What did Corinne write? I got another meeting. Thanks, Stevie. Don't think I can make the next course. I'm planning a fall one. Siobhan asked me the same question. I don't know if I'm doing a fall one. I don't know anything. I don't know. I just know I'm doing one in the spring. And so I know, I guess Siobhan and Corinne are thinking of doing a fall one. I don't know if I am. I just know I'm doing one in February. So I don't know if I'm doing a September one. So that's my long and short answer to that one. I'll drop them an email because I don't know if they know that. Anything else, you guys?
I have something.
Good. How do you pronounce your first name again?
Franslin.
Franslin. Okay, beautiful. I'm good.
Yeah, like the country Franslin. So yeah, so after our session on last Sunday, I'm back in Mumbai now, and you had pointed out, something energetic on my back
Okay.
uh, that day, and everything was fine. I wasn't feeling anything, and a couple of days ago, and I'm still feeling it. I'm feeling some pain over here now in like my lower, just under, like just in my left shoulder blade
Got it.
area.
Okay.
So I kind of want to dig into that a little and figure out what's going on.
Sure.
Mhm.
And when you were here at the workshop, I don't remember it, just so you know.
Mhm.
What was I coaching you on that I went to your back? What for? Or do you remember?
Um, you had
Don't worry if you don't
mentioned
remember. If you don't remember.
yeah, it was there was something about my father. Yeah, there was there were a few things as something about my father, but we didn't really dig into that very much. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess like I am feeling, I've been on a leave, a bit of a grief sabbatical, I guess you could say, for a few years now, and just really doing a lot of inner work and I guess there is some fear, of like moving forward and like transitioning careers. It's
Got it.
quite terrifying to move into something quite different. But it's also really exciting. Like this past week, I felt really excited, really motivated. But then all of a sudden, this happened, and I was like, "What's going on?" What,
This
like,
meaning the pain? This meaning the pain?
Yes.
Got it. Cool.
Mhm.
What was the work before you did?
That I did.
Yeah, that you're moving out.
I used to be in the legal field.
Okay, got it. And you're thinking of moving into the coaching, intuitive healing field. Is that right? Right. Okay. Of course, you'd be scared. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Okay. So the left side is your feminine. They just keep saying it's a fear that's clenching you. It's a fear of, it's like there's an energy that's, if this, okay, how do I show it to you? If this is your scapula, there's energy that says stay put. Like stay put, stay safe.
Mm.
Does that make any sense? And it might have been your dad when you worked together, but I don't remember. Yeah, they're saying it's an unconscious pattern that she has in her family that just says stay the course because this is safe. That makes sense here. And then, not to mention, you're also going through the grief process, which I acknowledge. But it's like, oh, I keep saying, the shoulder is the stay the course. And like, I keep hearing the same words. This is safe. This is safe. This is safe. That's why it's clenching you. So, and I can tell you, somebody who's changed their career 3 or 4 times, and just, I only change my career because they tell me to. It's annoying. I really want you to know that. I always tell them, this is the last one, right? So when they told me to leave coaching to teach, I was like, oh. And I know why. I know why, because the stuff that we talked about in that workshop is what I meant here to teach. Do you remember that woman who got up, who, I can't remember her story, who had a horrible date the night before?
Yes.
That's a lot of the work that I meant to teach. So I know that. It's just I had a really busy coaching business. I thought that was my retirement. I'm like, oh, damn, I'm gonna change again. So I, as somebody who has changed careers 4 times in my life, I understand the fear. And I understand kind of the excitement and the hesitancy because it's unknown. If there's just showing a picture of like if you're walking along a cliff and the cliff ends, you don't know what happens on the other side. And you're taking a leap of faith. Is my parachute going to open? I believe, Divi believes, no one enters an intuitive coaching world to make money. I mean, you make money, don't get me wrong, you make good money, but you don't do this for fame or fortune. You do it because you love to help people, and you do it because you want to make a difference, and you will make a lot of money, trust me. But you do it because the way the world is working isn't working for you, and you want to make a difference. And that can be really scary because you don't think you have a parachute. But you wouldn't be here if your soul wasn't calling you. I mean, your story blew my mind. I mean, I hear stuff like that all the time. You walk into Banyan, you look at my book, you put it down. The woman comes over and say, buy this book. You look in, you find I have a workshop the next day. Are you joking? Can't make this shit up. If that's not guidance, I don't know what is. And so what we have to start to realize, as much as there's a cliff that I'm going to jump off, there's a reason the guides are guiding you. So just so you know, when I took 3 intuitive trainings, after my 3rd one, I came back to town, Vancouver, hired a coach. I didn't know who she was. She was an intuitive coach. And she was the one who I co-wrote the book with, Lynette Brown. So her and I became good friends. I never thought I would teach intuition. Never thought I would teach. Last thing in the world. She was my mentor for 15 years. Like we're still friends. We just don't work together anymore. Do you know what I mean? But the universe led me to her. How I heard about her was I was in one of my trainings, I had to do 10 readings. Okay. So I went to my first intuitive training in Victoria, heard about this person, went did it. The name was okay. Then I heard her mentor's name. And I was like, oh, okay. So I looked online, found this mentor. I was like, oh, she's doing a course in Hawaii. I'm going to go there. So I went. So that's what I do. I'm going to go. And then I came back. And then for that second training, I had to do 10 readings on people I didn't know. How am I going to find 10 people I don't know? So a friend of mine who had met me at the beach, he came in and introduced himself. He was trying to pick me up. That didn't happen. We just became friends. And he was a spiritual teacher, a spiritual writer. So he referred me people. Okay, I got 10 people to do readings on. And then I was like, yeah, he goes, what do you want to do with your life? I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to really necessarily go back to medicine. I want to do this intuition thing. He goes, I know this woman. She just started a coaching business. Here's her name. That's Lynette. Like if none of that's like, if you can't make this shit up. And if you look at every big, not even big, I mean, I met Emmy 10 years ago. Her mom brought her to me. Her mom heard about it through somebody else. Like, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Everything in my business has been brought to me. Does that make sense here?
Actually, so I don't know if I mentioned this before, but my mother's first name is Lynette.
No.
Yes.
Your mom's first name?
Yes.
You're joking.
No. So when I picked up the book, I was like, you're kidding me right now, right? Like, is this really happening?
Well, that's not that common of a name. Wow. And that too, to be partnered with an Indian person. Like, do you know, like,
Yes.
like it's not that common of an Indian name either.
Correct. Yes. Yes. And that's how I got my name for both my parents, right? Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I got you now. Got it. Are you an only child, by the way?
No, I'm not.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Oh, how is this sitting? So as much as let me say it differently. They said, and this goes to Heather too. It's like there's a bigger power that's guiding you. And Deb, it goes to you. Like and my whole life has been like, my dad wanted to be a doctor, so I became a doctor. I was 25, became a doctor. But it almost feels like something bigger has been leading me the entire way. One of my aunts who lives in New Delhi, we're on a WhatsApp together, you know, family members. And she's getting old, like she's 95. She's writing in stories of her childhood, which we don't know because my parents immigrated here. So we didn't have any distant family, right? So I'm reading these stories about how I've got all these grandmothers, sisters were psychics. I'm like, what? No one told me this, right? My father, I still haven't told my dad what I do for work, right? Because he would freak out. So I don't tell him. And so I've heard, you know, does that make sense? So there's a bigger force that's been leading me for 35 years.
Yeah, I guess part of it is also like I haven't, I've been focusing a lot on like, my inner work, my grief, my healing, but I haven't committed to anything in, a little while now. So I guess maybe I'm like, oh, what if after a month I, lose interest or this, or I can't follow through. And so that is also coming up a little bit.
Yeah, I get that. So if you decide, I can set you up with Lynn. I'm gonna write myself a note. Lynn's my, what's she called? Operations manager. I've just recently hired her. I don't know what they're called. And so if it within a month you don't want to do the program, you get a big chunk of your money back. Like we don't want somebody in it. And she has the percentages. I don't remember, but she can send you that. It most likely won't happen, just so you know, because in the so I've run this program for 8 years. This year we did have a client leave, but it was because of money issue for him. Got it? So he was like, I can't afford this. I was like, cool. So he left after a month. And then in previous years, I had 2 clients leave in 8 years. So we've had 3 clients leave. One client was a money thing too. So we've had 2 clients leave because of money. And then one client actually had a massive fight with Lynette, and that was it. I was like, okay, game over, right? Well, that's got a very strong energy. She's like, so we had 3 clients leave, and we have a contract in place in terms of financial rebate. So it's not like you don't get money in your back, but it's like you will, like if you sign up earlier, you can actually watch pre-recorded material and see if it's for you or not too, which can help too. But that thought that's stopping you is simply the ego going, but you got to stay safe. Does that make sense? Because I don't think you can make any of that shit up that you told me about earlier. Your mom's name is Lynette. Does that make sense? And if you look at even how I started teaching, I started teaching before, but my bigger gigs, so I would teach for somebody, then they would introduce me to somebody else. And then a lot of my bigger gigs came from all those introductions. Does that make sense? And it's just, it's not me going to look, they find me.
You know, and I've definitely seen that, like, since I was in Vancouver, you know, from my sessions with my counselor, and then going to Banyan, and even this past week, like yesterday, my aunt, she sent me something so random about like building a business, and then it was like the weirdest, most, I didn't even tell her anything, and it was like the most random thing I got, and I was like, this is really bizarre. Yeah, it was just,
It's almost like there's a megaphone and are you listening?
Mhm.
That makes sense. And I understand the fear. Like I get it. It took me a few years to leave medicine before I would do this business full time. So I get the fear because it's like it's a grip, right? But if you it's like not even just about letting go of the fear, but it's like trusting despite the fear, stepping forward despite the fear. Does that make sense? And the worst thing that'll happen in the 6-month program is you'll heal more of your wounds. That's the worst
yeah,
thing.
fair. Thank you.
welcome.
Nice seeing you again.
Good to see you. See if there's any other questions. Yeah, it's like comfort. Okay, we did that one. Okay, we'll just do a meditation to end. Let's go and close our eyes. Take a moment, take a breath. With your eyes closed, just take 20 or 30 slow, deep breaths. Long breath in, slow breath out. Deep breath in, quiet breath out. Just breathe. As your breaths get deeper and slower, calmer and easier, reminding yourself that you've got what's called guides and divine support teams and energies and ancestors that are here to help us. You're not alone. And the more you let go of the auras and stop trying to figure it out yourself, the more you're guided. Sometimes as intuitives, the worst thing we do is try to figure it out ourselves when we have this whole support team of love and extension that's available. Take 5 breaths here. Calm, slow, and connected. Now when you're ready, go to open your eyes. So good to see you guys. I hope you have the best evening ever. So good to see you, Deborah. Twice today.
Good to see. Yes, good to see. Where can I find your book?
Amazon has it.
Okay.
Amazon.ca.
I got Lynette's first name this morning, but I don't know what her last name is.
Her last name's Brown.
Brown. Okay.
Yeah. Amazing.
Like the color.
You got it.
Okay. That's
Sending you
awesome.
so much love. Yeah.
Nice to see you. Yeah.
So good to see you. Have a great night, guys.
Good night.
Guys. Bye.